Hello and welcome back to another podcast episode of Stoke Fan TV with myself, Max.
And me, Sam.
And we've got some new guests joining us today. Well, I say new, some of them are basically like furniture now, Stoke Fan TV. But we've got a new guest joining us all the way from Orlando, and that's John. Welcome, John, to the podcast, along with the main man from Amsterdam, Alan May, down there in the corner, and Pete Pulis, the Potter. He's coming in his best Tony Pulis outfit today, haven't you, Pete? That's only because, Pete,
Absolutely.
right? No, you have to show people this. We've given you the stripe background, haven't you? And if you take your cap off, it looks like you've been the barbers and they weren't your friend.
At the yeah, at the zero, yeah. Yeah, Pete the Potter live from sunny Stafford. Welcome.
Excellent.
Hello everybody.
Well, welcome all to the show. And we come to you on the Sunday, the day after Manhoef sinks the Owls with 2 goals, and I believe we are still top of the table. That's right, everybody. Stoke are top of the table. But before we start, I just want to introduce John. John, welcome to the show. What brings you to be a Stoke fan? Yet you're from Orlando.
Well, I'm originally from Wiltshire, so I'm English and American and lifelong Stoke fan, always have been. It's always been my English team. Moved out to America, was part of Orlando City, which is the MLS team here, as well as the NWSL team, the women's team, which is Orlando Pride. And I do a podcast over here called Loud and Proud Orlando. Big fan of you guys, love the show, enjoy watching, and just reached out to Max and said, "Hey, but happy to come talk some Stoke sometime," because I don't get to talk to Stoke. I'm always talking MLS and soccer and all the American. So
Well,
I love to talk real football with some English lads.
John, you're in the right place because all we do week in, week out is waffle on about Stoke City. So welcome to the podcast. And we just want to say this is what it's all about. This is why we do the podcast with the Zoom, so we can bring in fans to waffle on about Stoke City. And it's not just Sam and myself standing out in front of a goal somewhere. Anyway, before you do anything, hit the pause, will you? Hit the like and subscribe buttons because they boost the channel massively. Come on. That's all we want you to do. Just press pause, like, and subscribe, and then sit with us for the next 25 minutes while we waffle on. So, anyway, I digress. I'm going to fling it over to Sam to start with, like I usually do. Sam, thoughts on yesterday's match?
Great performance, wasn't it? Really good game. Thoroughly deserved to win. Yes, granted, Sheffield Wednesday have got a lot going on, and fair play to their fans and everyone that turned out to support their team. I think the support and the atmosphere in the ground was phenomenal considering the circumstances. And I'm happy that Stoke absolutely battered them and they're still top of the league.
Boy, he's gone for absolutely battered. Right, next person I'm throwing it to. It's the first time we've seen him on the show this season. It definitely won't be the last, and that's Mr. May down there in the corner. Al, did you go to the game? I can see you're wearing the flamboyant away shirt. Excellent. Were you happy? Were you happy with yesterday's results?
I was certainly happy with the result. I have to say, yes, I did go to the game. I arrived in Sheffield at 12 o'clock and there was a really strange atmosphere. It was
Mm.
really quiet until about 2:30. Subsequently found out that they had a bit of a protest on the park carrying a coffin, and there was 2 or 3 thousand of their fans having a bit of a protest outside the main entrance for their delightful owner who won't sell the club. But it's really strange atmosphere yesterday, I have to say. And everybody you met went, it's really quiet. It's a really strange atmosphere. And to me, that always feels good. And I felt good about it. And I have to say, I took a load of photos. So if you look at my Facebook page, you can see the photos that I took of the stadium and stuff. And their groundskeeper manager, if you like, was really pleasant as I was walking around and allowed me into the ground at about 2 o'clock, take a few snaps. So hats off to them, because normally they'd say, "Well, you can't come in," But and then I actually went in the ground about 2:45. I thought the game was interesting. I thought we looked like we were playing as a team. It looked like all the players enjoyed it. Um, I did say to you earlier, I thought Victor saved us 2 or 3 times with some close range saves, and all credit due to Wednesday. I mean, they had a few shots, but they're all rosettes, which is great from a Stokes perspective. But I just thought we looked a little bit weak at the back. And now we've got some great players at the back yesterday, but we just looked a little bit shaky. Going forward, Sora Thomas, magnificent. And I think Millian's probably had a little boot up the rear
Up the rear.
from his shenanigans the other night, being sub. So he turned it on and scored two great goals, and so did I always get his name wrong. Mubaba, is it? I can pronounce it, but great header. But again, Silver Thomas, great crossing, great header, great finish, and a great support from all the lads. Capping it off, 3 points, top of the league.
Amazing. We'll get into the nitty gritty with, I say, Al's mentioned the defence there, mentioned Victor, individual players, but I want to throw it around everybody first. Pete, down in the corner, just before we throw it over to Orlando, I want to throw it down to Stafford area. And Pete, did you watch yesterday's game? What were your thoughts? Were you in the dugout yourself, were you, Pete?
Yeah, I wasn't at the game. I was at obviously went to the Derby match. Just about recovered from that. Nearly lost my glasses off the stand when we scored in the 95th minute. That we all had a mental. Anyone who was there probably did the same. Limbs, as the young people call it, limbs everywhere.
Yeah.
But I did watch the extended highlights of Sheffield Wednesday earlier on today, and it did look good. And yes, you're right, Al. Vic did save us a couple of times, and Robbins hinted at us being a little bit sloppy at the back. But I think we'd already done the work before, and when you go 2-3 up, you do tend to relax, don't you? Take your foot off the pedal. But yeah, it looked like everybody played really well. There was when the first goal went in, you saw the whole team all just sort of jumping on each other, and it just looked like a team, not a bunch of individuals. And I think that's definitely something that Robbins has contributed greatly to, is creating this team thing at the end of the game. Go and all say thank you to the fans. He wouldn't let anyone walk off at the end. So great stuff. I mean, I'm really, really excited about this season. Interestingly, when the new guys come in, will it sort of stop us a little bit? You know, when we bring in these 2, 3, 4 extra players, you know, will we maybe not do quite as well? So it'll be interesting to see what happens as we move forward.
Hold that thought, Pete. That's an interesting point there. We'll get into that in a second as well. Squad depth. Just throw it over to John finally. Thoughts on yesterday's game, John? How do you watch the matches over there in Orlando? Do Stoke send them over on a dongle via pigeon or anything like that, or are you able to get hold of the
It's actually changed this year. So a lot of the championship games in the EFL has been picked up by CBS or Paramount. So they put a lot of the games on there. So the opening day, the Derby game, could watch all of it on regular TV with some really great coverage. The game yesterday was back to the old Stoke, TV player, which is, for the international fans will know, is limited and expensive. But I do get to watch the game. Cost me, £10 plus in the exchange rate to do that, but it was well worth it because the boys are top of the league. Another great win. A lot of these players that we were kind of excited about last year now starting to show really what they can do, like Pearson, Lawal, Seko, etc. But yeah, Sora Thomas, for me, he's the one who the man oozes, like, I don't know, class, but also working hard mentality at the same time. He's just an out and out Stoke winger, so I'm not surprised the fans love him already.
Do you know what? I think that's a good place to start. I think I know we've mentioned Manhoef, and I know Manhoef got a couple of goals, but I think I just want to talk about those front three yesterday, because I thought those front three were fire. Literally, I think Sora Thomas, that touch that he does when the ball comes to him, and he just his control takes him 2-3 yards past the player. I mean, that's mad, isn't it? I've not seen a player do that for Stoke in a while. I think the last player that maybe saw do that kind of technique was Marko Arnautovic. I saw him do it a couple of times, But it's like the ball just comes over and Sorba's control, and it's that side, and the defenders go in. Oh heck, it's a couple of yards past me that way. Anyone want to touch a little bit more on the front three? Thoughts on them? Anyone got any comments about us going forward? Go on, Sam, you got your hand up.
Yeah, I'd like to apologise to Millian Manhoef for what I said about him in the show the other week, to be honest, because
I've heard he's watching, Sam. I've heard he's watching, and he was waiting on that apology, mate.
yeah, well, if he is, well, there you go. But no, he put in a really good performance yesterday against Sheffield Wednesday, and to be fair, he played quite well against Walsall too. I know he managed to beat a few guys against Walsall. I don't think it was a very good performance as a whole against Walsall, and I think the manager was very honest about that in the post-match interview that he did on the website. But no, definitely massively improved for the Sheffield Wednesday game. Sora Thomas is a quality winger, and he is a quality winger that Stoke have been missing since you mentioned Marko Arnautovic leaving. He's got the skill and the ability and the confidence to actually try and beat a man. Whereas I'd say Millian Manhoef probably struggles on that front. And I think you'll find with Millian, he always cuts in on that left-hand side, and defenders have started to read what he does every single time. If you look at Sora Thomas, he does different stuff every time he gets the ball. And I think that's what makes Sora Thomas that step better at the minute than Millian Manhoef. And I think...
Go on, Sam. You think?
I think if Sora Thomas continues to play as good as he's playing for Stoke now, if Stoke don't go up this season, he's Premier League quality and we ain't going to keep him.
Why did Manhoef not go on, Pete?
He's a marked man now already. 2 games in, 3 games in, word will get around. I mean, he's on every social media, isn't he? So I think he quite likes the, having his face all over the place. But I think he's going to be a marked man, and I think defenders are going to get him before he gets them. What I think he needs to do is get in the box, and he will get a few penalties from being brought down. But as I say, a little bit of showboating yesterday. I think experienced defenders will clatter him. And I think that happens a bit like they used to clatter Michael Owen. As soon as they realised Michael Owen was so nippy as a striker a few years ago, they would clatter him. So I think with him, I think he's got to be a bit careful. He won't have it as easy as he's had it in the last 2 or 3 matches. That's all I'm going to say. Quick thing about Mubama, just a little touch he did yesterday reminded me of Andy Cole. Again, showing my age there, but obviously Al will know him. Andy Cole for Newcastle and Man United. There was one little move he made where it almost went in. You know, when it hit the line and it almost crossed the line. The touch was so Andy Cole. So he's absolutely brilliant. And, if we can keep him the year, we've done well. And I reckon, double figures for sure. Could he even get, 20 goals at this rate? But no, really happy with the front three.
Well, he's got 2 and 2. Al, you got your hand up, go on, mate.
Yeah, I'll just touch on what Pete said about Sora Thomas. He was showboating yesterday, but you know what? He showboated around 2 or 3 players at any one time. And yeah, he did win us some free kicks, so all the better for that if they are going to clatter him and take him down. But when I was watching him, he reminded me of a mashup of 2 great Stoke players. He reminded me going down the flanks like Mark Chamberlain and having a bit of the skill of Peter Hoekstra. And if you match the 2 up, I think you've got a Sora Thomas. And yeah, I'm really happy that he's going to be in the side. But I think if they keep switching the flanks and just don't keep it on his side, I think it'll work in our favour. Yeah. And again, if we win a free kick from it, so be it, especially if he's down the bottom half of the pitch.
Yeah. Good point.
John, you got any thoughts on that front three? Feel free to jump in, by the way, if you want to.
I agree with what Sam was saying about Sora Thomas. I think, he's so, he can cut inside, but also he's a traditional winger, so you can switch him either way, and then that causes wrinkles and issues for the opposition's defense. They don't know how to deal with him. Right now, he's in 2 games in, he's got some of the best stats in the championship, and he's leading in like chances created and stuff like that. We've also got, Divin, is it Divine or Divin Mumbamba, who's playing really well on loan. He's up there with like Josh Sargent as top performers at the beginning of the season for nines in this league. And then Millian, although I was very disappointed with his attitude in the Derby game, he's obviously had a word and turned it around, and now looks like, the Millian that we want. But yeah, he can be a bit one-dimensional at times. So a front three though that could definitely be, up there with some of the best front threes in the end of the season in the championship. So we've started well. We've just got to continue that way.
But the thing is with Millian, I'm super glad he came back and he scored 2 goals, and we know he's got a wand of a left foot at times. Why is Millian not trained up his right foot more during the summer break? Because the man's wicked on his left foot, but I know what Millian's going to do. 2 days before he plays, he's surely it would have been beneficial for Millian to train up his right foot a bit more. No,
you know what?
Anyone got any thoughts on that?
Interestingly, my sons, unfortunately, are Liverpool fans and watched the game Friday night. And Salah, who of course is up there with the best left footers out there,
he's okay, isn't he?
he scored with his right foot. So maybe Millian should be looking at him. Messi, of course, probably best player ever. He scored a hell of a lot with his right. So yeah, so Millian's got some work to do. He's only young though, isn't he? 21, is he? 21?
He's 23, he's 23, I think.
He's 23 now. Oh,
yeah,
wow,
yeah, he's not as young as you think.
Yeah.
There's another young player in there that I have similar thoughts on, and that's Ho, because Ho, I would say Ho had a better game yesterday, but do you know what? I'm still not convinced as Ho as number 10. And I just wonder, again, if I look at players and I look at where their weaknesses are and how they need to improve, I was hoping to see a stronger Ho come back, and I mean that with the greatest of respect. I was hoping to see a player that when they were coming in, because they come in hard, like from the side, from the front, when he's trying to hold it. But I was hoping to see a player that just they weren't able to get the ball off as when he's in that final third. Haven't seen it yet. See him in that cup game. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I've seen that cup game a couple of players again.
And Alan will be better about this, but if you watch the first goal yesterday from the back, so there were lots of angles, but if you see it from like almost behind the goal, so you might need to go back and have a look at the clips. When Bay gets the ball, somebody tries to clatter him and he rides that tackle. And I'm sure a year and a half ago he wouldn't have. He rides it and then I think without even looking, pings it to Millian. So that I agree with you that he's still, he needs to, sort of beef up a bit. But he did ride quite a challenge. If you go back and have a look at that, I actually wrote it down that he rode quite a good tackle in order to then speed up, pass it to Millian for the goal. So I get it, but he's got a way to go.
I think he did better. But with that front three playing as well as they have been, I have to mention now we've got a striker who scored 2 and 2. In the first 2 games of the season. I've said this before. Recently, bar that Tom Cannon had, we get a lot of players coming in that are striker-wise that just don't seem to be able to perform.
Yeah.
It's good sign. Al, you've mentioned him. A good sign, right? Surely you've seen many striker at Stoke.
Oh, I've seen that many. I forget all their names, Matt. Do you know? I don't know. I actually thought the way we laid ourselves out yesterday was pretty good. To me, it looked like a 4-2-4. And we talk about the front three, but I'm definitely a 4-2-4. Certainly, I think coming out in the second half.
Well, I bet the number 10 was involved a lot.
Yeah, look, it's 2 games in. We can't get ahead of ourselves, and we can't put the players down when we're scoring and winning by 3 goals in 2 games. Back-to-back wins, 6 goals. It's unheard of for us to a certain degree. But I just don't want to get ahead of ourselves. I think we've got the makings, even with the players we've signed that haven't sort of shown themselves on the park. having a good backup system and a rotational system. And if we can just get that back four right, then I think we're going to be a force to beat.
Would you change the back four from what it is at present now?
I'd like to see what this Maxi's got on a regular basis.
Height, I believe, for sure.
And with Phillips as well, just to see if they can combine. Because then in my mind, I'm sort of thinking Hoof, Shawcross with them two. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, solid. That's what I want. I want a great football team normally has a great defence. I mean, Arsenal would be the front runners in that over the years. Always build from the back and then develop as you go forward. That's the way I look at it. I just thought against Derby it was a different kettle of fish. I don't even think they were in our half in the first half, but they had one or two chances and scored from their only chance. But yesterday, again, like I said earlier, you know, we cut it short, and they did have a lot of chances, albeit over the bar, wide, and Victor saving us. But it was just a bit lackluster. I don't know. Maybe, look, I'm not negative because I love yesterday and I love the win and I love the 3 points, but I just don't want to get ahead of myself because I don't want to be in that situation in a few weeks. Here we go again, same old Stoke. I want to be positive, and I want everyone to be positive about the team and the club. And, you know, that's just the way my mind's set, really.
Well, we are top of the league at present. John, I'm going to bring you back in. Are we getting a bit ahead of ourselves? Do we need to keep ourselves on the ground? Are Orlando usually top of the league at this time in the season? You know, do we need what do we think to that?
Well, we're constantly battling into Miami and Messi, and we just beat his team like 4-1. So that was really nice. So things are good here for us in Orlando. But for Stoke, I mean, they've started really well, yes, but I think we've just all been burned so many times before, and that's just a lot of us are like, how ready to get hurt again are you? How much hope are you going to put in it? How invested are you going to be? I think an improvement on last year is a top half finish. If we can push to be a promotion fighting club, I will be delighted and call this a massive success this season based on, the last few years. I mean, last year we had 3 managers, like just some stability and some development and some growth, and going up the league is what's important. Yes, we've started really well. We should definitely not get ahead of ourselves. This is the championship. Even you poor Sheffield Wednesday with no money and a terrible club situation, put us under some pressure. So we really cannot take any game lightly in this league. But yeah, we have the squad, I believe, the depth and the team to be able to compete this year.
Do we know what's up with Maxi? Do we know what's up with Maxi?
He's carrying injury. He's just come back to training apparently, but he's carrying. There's a couple of players like that. You know what? The squad that we have got this season. Now we've brought some players. I was worried not that long ago. Sam and I did a video and we stood, out with the first one back in the new season. I did say to Sam, I am worried about the depth that we have, especially at that time, because we'd literally just lost Berger and Sidibe was out the door as well. And I was thinking, what are we going to do? Even in the middle of the park. Now you think, blooming heck. All of a sudden, Seko's got a new lease of life. He's a bit like that player that won the Player of the Month that one time. Brilliant. I know he seems like a confidence player, but he's confident to get the ball now. He's happy to pick up the ball. We've obviously got Baker in the middle of the park as well. And then we've got Llewellyn can play there as well. Obviously, the number 10, which just sits in front of them. Obviously, we play with a double pivot and the number 10. But we've got, in that number 10 role, we've got Bay, we've got Donnelly as well, and then we've also got Zonzi now. He's another one in there. I'm looking at the team, and I'm feeling great about the depth that we have in most places,
and the height.
Go on, Pete. Go on quickly,
and the height. Just quick story. I met Zonzi before the Derby game, and I nearly strained. I think I sent you a picture, Max, and I nearly strained my neck taking a selfie with him, and then sitting behind me at the West Stand, top tier, but there were tickets off a mate. I'm not that posh, and and sitting behind me was Maxi with his girlfriend, his model girlfriend, and I turned around, shook his hand, and I said, "Welcome to the club," and he nearly broke my hand with his handshake. And then I turned around to do a selfie, and he'd gone. So I don't know what whether I'd offended him. I think he was a bit shocked that I recognised him.
Yeah,
But
maybe
he
he thought, "Oh God."
huge as well.
But
Absolutely
he might have
huge.
thought you were Tony Pulis as well, to be fair.
Well, that's true. Yeah,
No,
that's true.
in that
Yeah,
cap.
yeah.
No, the height thing is a thing. Sam, I know you had your hand up there. You were going.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sam.
Obviously, you've been mentioning about squad depth, and we mentioned on the show the other day that we needed another midfielder to cover the centre mid and another striker. Obviously, Stoke have just announced the signing of Lamine Cisse. We haven't mentioned that on the show, so that is another striker that we've got in the squad that we're yet to know anything about. It'll be interesting to see what he's going to do for us. We've got Thomas Vigo. Now, nothing can be confirmed about Thomas Vigo yet, but there's quite a lot of stories online that we could be getting Thomas Vigo. And I've seen that he's following all the Stoke social pages and has been liking all the Stoke City stuff for the past 2 weeks, and his wife has as well. So that's a good sign. Ryan May. Now, Ryan May is still contracted under the club as a striker. I don't know if any of you guys saw the other day that he'd actually managed to crash his vehicle and ended up inside the middle of a supermarket. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Ryan May. Has anybody got any idea what's going on with Ryan May?
He sounds like he's been shopping in Tesco's, just done it in a slightly odd way.
I'll just make the point. He is no relation, and his name is.
Oh man! Well,
just in case there was any confusion.
I saw a thing on Alan May. Bloody hell, no! I saw a thing on Alan May. I saw a thing on Ryan May, saying basically, I think the manager come out on about both May and Vidigal, and he said something along the lines of he hoped they found a new club soon. That's what I read, or something along those lines. It was I can't remember, I don't know where it was on. I just Googled it, and it was on about. As far as I'm aware, I don't think that those players are in his plans. I
think there's more chance of Ryan May playing. I think there's more chance of Brian may play, but
what, my Uncle Brian?
We digress.
I know. Let me just drop this point in. I've just watched this afternoon Ipswich Town versus Southampton, who we've got next week, and I thought they both looked very average. And I think if we do play like we played against Derby, and certainly points that we made yesterday, I think we'll turn Southampton. Bearing in mind we did beat them at their place a couple of times over the last couple of seasons.
Well, we'll see. We've got 5 minutes left on the show, lads. I just want to throw that same question over to John quickly. The squad. You've mentioned the squad, John. Are you happy? Are you happy with the depth we have? Is there anywhere you think we still maybe are lacking a little bit, or you're not super sure about? Or
I was interesting. Sam was talking about defensive mids. I think I would put Bosun Noel there most of the time, and because you've got better centre back options. They brought in more centre backs. It seems to me like Bosun is just starting there, and then they're probably going to move him into that D mid role, which I would go with him and Baker in most games playing those positions. I think it's a good balance between a defensive guy and a guy that can progress the ball up the field. I think around the park we have pretty good depth now. Obviously, in Zonzi coming in, etc., etc. Like Vidigal, he's probably going to go. I agree on that one. I think he's playing in the under-21s is a clear sign. And yeah, Ryan May. I mean, you've got Gallagher, Bozevnik, Mwamba, Cisse can play there, Manhoef can play there. There's a lot of options at striker that you don't really need Ryan May. And these guys are on wages, like they're taking up some of the wage budget. That's significant as well. The other one that I don't know where he fits in for me right now, and I would happily move him on. This might be a bit of a hot take, but Ben Pearson, man, for years he's been injured, and he never gets enough games, and he's always getting yellow and red cards, and he's on a lot of money. And I think we've got other defensive mid options that I would quite happily be like, Ben, thank you, but time to move on.
Well, that is an interesting one. That will ruffle a few opinions. I mean, that's what
we do here, ruffle opinions.
Yeah, no, that's true, man. Like I said about Pearson, he got sent off. I think, but not last season, season before. It was during a really important game. And I was just so cross at the time. I remember saying, I'm happy if he didn't play for Stoke again. I was that angry with him. But then equally at the same time, he has come back and he does at times show a bit of steel in the midfield. We've got a couple of minutes. Does anyone want to just touch on that or the centre mid in general area?
There's one more thing that we haven't mentioned. We haven't mentioned the fact that we've still only got one right back.
Yeah, that was what I was going to say as well. Especially because the African Nations Cup and any sort of Cameroon match, Junior's off, isn't he? So who's going to take his place?
Wilmot, maybe, because we've got 700 centre-backs.
Seko can play there.
Yeah, and we got, what's his name? We played in the cup the other day. Mears.
Mears, yeah.
No.
Wilmot, if he has to.
No, Mears.
What? Yeah, I don't
probably
know.
a flavour.
But I agree with Sam.
Yeah.
We need a backup right because it's more about being an attacking right wing back. That's what we need.
Yeah.
He does make a difference. He does make a difference, Shamadou, when he's playing, you know. He does bomb forward on that right-hand side, doesn't he?
Oh,
got a shot as well.
Yeah,
that shot versus Derby. Oh my God.
He's
such a good shot.
You know what? He's I was just I wanted us to have signed Hoover, to be honest, at the same time, because do you know what I like about the squad this season? There's not necessarily any nailed on starters, I don't think, in terms of there's a lot of options, is what I'm getting at, I should say. So there's going to be competition for places. A lot of competition. I really like that. Like that, you know, you look at this season, left back, Cresswell. He's come in and he's starting. He's going to push Bocat. Bocat knows that if he wants to start playing, because last season, Bocat would have walked in the team, wouldn't he?
No one else, yeah.
And I think I want that similar thing for right back as well, to be fair. I do.
Hoover had a really good game against Man City for Wolves yesterday. And they did go 1-up, which was ruled offside, but it was his cross that put it in the box. But up until that point, they would have turned the game, but it went the other way. But hey ho.
Well,
let's not worry about him. He's gone.
Yeah,
what's interesting?
That's true.
Can I just say?
Go on, Pete.
Just say so. The fact that we've not talked a lot about Zonzi, I think, is brilliant because it means we're not seeing him as some sort of saviour. We're just seeing him as another player, an addition to our squad instead of, oh my God, if he doesn't come in and change things, we're doomed. And that's really nice that we've been talking about new players, fresh players, exciting players we've not even seen. And, we've got Zonzi to maybe, come on with 20 minutes to go and just calm things down.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting.
Do you know what? We could talk about the strength in Stoke's squad for the next hour. I'm sure we could. But unfortunately, everybody, we've run out of time. I just want to say a huge thank you to all our guests today from sunny Stafford, up north slightly, AL, up that way up north, and all the way across the pond over to Orlando as well. And Sam, I don't know where Sam is today. You on your hollybobs, but looks like on your phone, ain't you, Sam?
I'm in Blythe Bridge.
Oh, the Blythe, sunny Blythe, Costa del Blythe Bridge, No, anyway, thanks everybody. We'll try and do what we usually do before we finish. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. If you've got any thoughts on today's show, all the points made, all the controversial points, let us know in the comments. Right, so it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye for me. I'm just off to get my new tattoo, the new Stoke badge tattoo now.
And it's a goodbye from me.
Do you know what? We've never done it before. That's it. There's a sign, Stoke at top of the league, and we've managed to whip round where everyone says it, sort of in vague order. Pete's gonna go get his tattoo, and then he's going off to a Tony Pulis convention.
Look-alike competition.
Thanks everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon on another episode of Stoke Fan TV. Go on, Stoke.
Go on, Stoke.
Go on, Stoke.